My name is Hugo Araujo. I'm a Biomimicry Professional. I started in 2011. I am a founder of 7Vortex, and my focus is in bioart, and my favorite strategy is evolution. I am part of the Biomimicry Reef, which is the B3.8 network. This presentation is about my personal journey, and it is about my inner change. And I present this as a living organism from the planet Earth. So in 2006, I started an expedition on art, business, and technology. And it was an expedition into the wild. For now, there have been 15 years. And I did it for meeting real examples on the planet, solutions, but also living in healthy ecosystems and healthy environments. So I think that gives me a perspective of what we should be doing and respecting the locals.
Curriculum achati iki zikzihina agachihinyichi gonkadukane tuinan kauge.
Entonces lo que él dice es, si cada día más destrucción, ¿qué es lo que queremos nosotros como ser humano? ¿Vivir o morir?
So as you can see, my family was there, and this is the kind of expedition that we've been doing, and I start for this family center life project. As I said, I'm a biomimicry professional, and I want to be clear on that. We are following pillars, principles, and thinking for creating conditions conducive to life. In the last period, in the last workshop, we've been talking about evolution equals innovation, and we have developed in 10 years this framework on how does nature do, where evolution is about change, it's about the right pace, and it is about the next generation. We have co-developed these wheels with Nan, which is also present, and they are giving us some evolutionary strategies. So my background is on these 10 years of research, understanding how evolution works and how can we see things from a biological perspective. So as we can see here, we have more than 21 strategies. These are all done by Nan, our biologist on the design table. But one that triggered my mind was collective advantage, because it seems that as humanity, we really need to create this cultural evolution, and we can do it in collective. So my intention is to accelerate this evolution. And my question is about how and what is our human ecological niche as a species. So where am I? I'm in the digital bioart, where we are all nature, but life as a code. And I like to see us as a connected molecules with digital bonds. I'm representing here Vibrio fischeri, which is a bioluminescent bacteria. And I want to be seen from this perspective as one that does quorum sensing and has universal communication molecule. And this is for concluding that everything is connected. So here we are. We are in the age of the greatest interdependence, as Janine and Dana were saying, in a multi-generational society and in a science-based climate change. We are also in a global movement that right now is called regeneration, #regeneration on its own, which is part of a metabolic Earth, and also this metabolic Earth has a tropical core. So I've been developing this set of tools to have a better perspective and understanding as a way to be on the edge of art. So in this planetary globe, you can see that we have the bioregions and also the blue basals. So my intention is that we can see this Gaia theory from a functional biology perspective, and we can also see the different kinds of movements that are moving there in terms of networks. So the biomimicry global networks, the ecosystem restoration camps, the regenerative communities networks, and these are all networks that I've been working with and for. And my understanding is that we are all kind of scattered for a moment, but that we also need to, this is the donut economics, that we need to work together. So in another network, the Global Regeneration Collab, I don't know if you're familiar with Ubiquity University, and another initiative that I've been working with is the Global Regeneration Corps. So it seems that regeneration is really emerging as a global movement, and I wanted to build this piece so we can be inspired as many networks in the same place, so we can co-create and collaborate, taking this collective advantage to the next level. When we see the planet, we can also put different layers as humidity, and sometimes understanding this idea of the tropical core is clearer when we see these kind of things, where the trees are producing humidity, not just capturing CO2 as in the soil, but they are also releasing humidity, which means that there is a tropical core in the center. If we follow the equatorial line, then we will see how this humidity on the poles and on the center is there. So if we really want to heal the planet, we need to understand that the global south, it is also the tropical core. And my function for this is the Metabolic Earth. It is about energy, materials, and the relationship in between the consumption and conversion, and how to be part as an organism of an ecosystem. So if we can enhance all these parts, then we'll be able to go to the next level. So what is reality? Reality is a bottom-up, top-down, quantitative and qualitative approach. And I think one of our challenges right now is about complexity management. So how to take better decisions about life. This is the question that brought me here in this. So we've been working with the Mexico's Oncology Institute, which in Spanish is the Instituto Nacional de Cancerología. And working with them, we wanted to put the market as an ecosystem, and focusing not just on health, but on wellness, on genetics. So how can we put all these approaches together, which I think diversity, as Janine was saying, is very important. So giving another panorama just before COVID. So we are understanding how to weave into this collective intelligence. And I will play a video that will explain a little bit better. It's a 1.5 minute video. But there are many actors like academy, government, institution, hospitals, management, services, doctors, community, patients, and they all have different needs. But what an ecosystem teaches is that we can rely on diversity, and we need to design for this. So this is what I've been doing through biomimicry in this platform that is called 7 Vortex. So you will see that there are many approaches to the same part, and every time that we, let's say, reshuffle information, we will see it from a different angle. And by looking things from a different angle will help us to understand that everything is connected, as I said, and we have an ecosystemic health. So let's watch this video, please.
How can we evolve healthcare and treat every patient as an individual with a complete picture surrounding them, giving each person a clear view of their health, their data, and access to the latest knowledge, support, and treatment? 7 Vortex is designed to do just that. This groundbreaking digital health ecosystem revolves around the individual. How? Let's look at a user. Meet Mia. Mia will be able to access her own information, which has been digitized in 7 Vortex. Now Mia has a holistic view of her history and medical care, so she can better manage her health. Through the dashboard, she can look at information from different perspectives, such as by body system or on a timeline. Every piece of data adds more detail. Through the marketplace, Mia can buy medical and wellness-related products from the web. Mia can even connect with her close family to watch their pathology and be aware of risks or disorders. She can interact with the community and share experiences and ideas. 7 Vortex has far-reaching implications beyond the individual patient. There is the potential to identify global trends, localize epidemics, and enable cross-border collaboration. Together, we can use power of data with an ecosystem that reveals the bigger picture. 7
So as I said, this is before COVID, and now I think that we're going into this age of greatest discoveries by understanding our relationships, and this is what it's all about. I'm not a coder on my own, but I do want to be in a thriving planet that is conducive to life. So I took the challenge to develop these kind of things and how to achieve it. Working in regeneration, I will share some real cases with what I call a regen compass, using sacred geometry, but also different sorts of technologies to give perspectives, to have a view on the planet as a planetary level, to see our patches, and you will see how to participate in that one, but also to track the progress by learning from the trees. So how does an ecosystem do it? But also a neural network and also a mycelium. And this is a learning that I got from living in nature, it is about energy exchanges, which are also ecological vectors or biological relationships. And I developed this ecosystemic framework by understanding the different types of energy exchanges that are in between an organism A and organism B. So if we can have a better understanding of the ecosystem and not just putting the money in the first place, then we might be able to see the big picture and to understand that competition is a lose-lose and collaboration is a win-win. So we need to acknowledge this if we want to create healthier ecosystems. But it was very difficult for me to find someone that is not a biomimic working on these kind of approaches. So I put together, and you can join this by going to 7vortex.com. And there are so many different mappings and information where it's really rich right now and has been going since 2017. And you can use it. It's open, and it is meant to be there to explain us what we've been learning, because I didn't want to keep losing the knowledge in other platforms. So when we go there, we also have this biomimicry part and the global ecosystem. So this is a mapping that I did for the Biomimicry Institute about networks, emerging networks. And what was very interesting is that in terms of emerging networks, we also see it wasn't just a database, but it was about the interviews and the process. So we saw that biomimicry is very related with other different topics, such as bioart, circular economy, regenerative design, indigenous knowledge, biodigital architecture, software. So understanding that we are not alone, I think, is the beginning of creating a stronger network. And I think all that have been putting input there. So this is a co-creative process that has been ongoing for more than 10 years, as I said, and we can visit it and see it in the open creative source. So what have we done with 7vortex is really trying to accelerate the evolution, the cultural evolution, as I said before. I've been using the essential elements, the life principles, the biomimicry thinking, and the deep pattern in biology to create a collective intelligence, a creation tool, and so far we have more than 12,000 different knowledge ecosystems, and we have participation in visits from 165 countries and more than 5,000 cities. Claire taught me about how to create critical connections, and I just want to honor that part because this is what I've been trying to do. So with Kate Raworth, for example, she said that this is the power of the hive mind. So getting this, it brought me to the idea of creating a hive formation. And this is another tool that is for the Global Regeneration Corps, another case where you can see self-emergence of the code red and the first responders, so to connect between each other. So we decided, the website is there, regenerative.be, and we've been asking questions about what is the challenge, what is the power. That was done in the COP26 because we wanted to channel energy in a more positive way. So if we can create a fractal voice and understanding where we are located and giving the opportunity to everyone to put their own content instead of asking closed questions. So we can see how these kind of things are connected and we can always change it. So it is not static, it is dynamic. It is in its first early stages, but it is really interesting. So if you want to go there, regenerative.be, you can create your own, and that will give you the opportunity to see how you are connected with others. So this is information that belongs to Ubiquity University, but what they are doing is putting it as a global commons, so we all hold an ownership on our own information. So if we want to see it as a mycelium, then we will see the collaboration opportunities of other people that is having the same kind of answers. And sometimes you can also explore it by territory, for example. So we can see all these type of connections, and this is just from one person and having a fractal voice, how many things and how many people you can be connected with. So again, critical connections. But what about if you want to see it as a territory? So we use again this planetary perspective to see who is there and how can we actually contact them. So for example, Carolina, it is in this place in Portugal, and for each of them we have different sorts of information. For the moment we are just sharing the email, but the idea will be that we can also exchange messages. As a bioregional perspective, we have developed Virtual Gaia for a client. And Virtual Gaia is very interesting because it allows us to see what Janine was saying about the territory in different layers. So again, using the analogy of the Metabolic Earth, then we go to a specific territory and we can see there many different layers, but also the transformation rings, which is a way that I learned from dendrochronology, from the trees, on how to keep up with different transformation with the rings. So stage 1, 2, and 3. Then we connect what we have seen in 7 Vortex, and this is the organization that is holding that space, putting their own perspective. So whenever they want to switch it off, they are free to do it. So we need to keep this alliance alive if we want to keep going on this one. So I think this is respectful to the people working there. So we can see what they are doing. They can express. Tamsin, from another Biomimicry Professional, is the director of the School of Biocultural Leadership. So it is, as for my surprise, connecting biomimicry in many different ways. So about learning of carbon offsetting, it is also important to acknowledge the voice of the locals. So we're using the Hive as this fractal voice for the locals to put the topics that are of their interest. So for example, if for me security is important and health and maybe nature, then I can express myself in this way, and everything is connected as you saw it in the other Hive. So this was before the other Hive, and this is a way that maybe could be disruptive for democracy, in a way that you can focus on topics instead of just candidates as a community, but also to express as a virus kind of thing inside a territory, what kind of things are doing there in terms of the market. So it's a storytelling tool around the territory that is connected with the rest of the places. So again, we can see different layers as the whole part, the rivers, the properties, and the land use. So we can have a better understanding. If this tool could be in the hands of the locals, they will be really having something powerful to deal with government. And we are also exploring the art part. So in the Hudson River with regenerate.is, they came with the idea of using art in a crypto way, in an NFT way. If you are not familiar, then it's a blockchain technology that allows us to do smart contracts. So if we acknowledge the art that is there, and this art is adding value to the local community in a percentage of their price, then we can set up virtual galleries, and these galleries will be having this smart contract, and in this way we can also add value to local NGOs or to local land trust, if that's the case. I just was in a call with the guys from Seeds, which is a regenerative cryptocurrency, join.seeds, I think, or joinseeds.org, and you can see what they are doing. So we are moving forward this conversation by creating abundance in terms of the financial system. So just for you to know, I spent about 1 year without internet, and this is what I'm doing here in Costa Rica Regenerativa. So after delivering these all biomimicry platforms, then I say, well, what if we can create something that is connected, that allows us to evaluate the impact that we are having in different projects with bottom-up indicators, and top-down, of course, but also bottom-up. So once that you click on these ones, and you can create the rings, and the rings are giving us different insights of the information for each project. So from my understanding, impact investment is quite of a challenge right now, but if we see it and if we learn from the trees, then we can see where do we come from and how are we creating the transformation in not a linear way, but in an impact investment portfolio that will be systemic in many ways. Also, in a personal way, how to evaluate the spiritual, environmental, social, economical, political, and cultural. And seeing all this connected again help us. So using nature's design is really important. And I just wanted to say, dear Claire, where there is love and light, in the middle there is always hope.